Welcome back, Hive Mind. This is Shalazar from Hive Mind Gaming, coming at you with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Now, this is just going to be a quick one, guys. Just want to let you know that this weekend will be a times 10 event. And what that means is when we come over here and we look at our numbers here, this is a times 10 event, meaning that it's not going to affect the percentage on getting a legendary or an epic. It's only going to increase once you get one. So you're still only going to have an 8% chance to get an epic and a 0.5% chance to get a legendary. But if you pull a legendary or an epic, there will be 10 more percent chance to pull one of these spotlit characters. Okay, so they're gonna do a spotlight on these characters I'm about to go over, and if you get lucky enough to actually pull an epic or a legendary, then there's a 10% chance that you'll pull one of these special ones. All right, so what that means, or so what these are, let's go in here and take a look. So the first one is Vizier. Yeah, there he is. All right. So he is he is really only good in clan boss. If you need a good clan boss uh, character to increase your debuffs, then he's the guy for you. He is top tier clan boss, S tier clan boss. Let's check out his kit real quick. He's got a increase ally attack in dungeons by 34%. You're not going to be using him in dungeons, so. And then he's got place a perfect veil on this champion for 2 turns at the start of each round. So he's pretty much always going to be in perfect veil, which is really good since they buffed that ability. And then his A3 is attacks one enemy, applies a debuff spread effect that taking 2 random debuffs from the target and placing them on all enemies. And then he places a perfect veil buff on this champion for 3 turns if the target is under 2 or more debuffs, and then the damage is based on attack. And that's a 5-turn cooldown that can bring it down to a 4-turn cooldown if booked. His A2 is Master of Misery. It attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a block buffs debuff, a 50% decrease attack debuff, and a 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. And then his damage is based on attack. And then the only thing it does, if fully booked, is gets the percentage chance to lay those debuffs. Alright, and then his A1 is attacks one enemy 3 times. Here's the money shot right here. Attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 35% chance of increasing the duration of all debuffs for 1 turn. This is what makes him so good in Clan Boss, because that will book up to 50% chance. So that means it hits 3 times, and it's 50% chance each hit to increase the duration of the debuffs. So if you've got the Clan Boss or set up to where he's taking tons of damage from poisons, and the decreased attack and decreased defense debuffs, he will increase those times on there so that you constantly have those debuffs up. Alright, so he is, like I said, an S tier champ when it comes to Clan Boss. Alright, so the next one that we're going to take a look at is in the Undead. Harvest Jack. Alright, so he's going to be a arena champ for you. This guy, was one of the guys that gave me the most trouble when I was leveling up with my main account. Alright, his A1, Harvest of Fear, attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 25% chance of stealing one random buff from the target. Each hit also has a 25% chance of placing a fear debuff for 1 turn if the target has no active buffs. And then, because, that wasn't enough, this this chance increases to 100% if all buffs were stolen from the target. It's based off of HP, so you can make him very tanky with a lot of HP. And yeah, so that could possibly hit pretty darn hard as well. Then his A2 is Dreams of Ash, which is attacks all enemies, places a block buffs debuff for 2 turns on targets under fear debuffs. Highly annoying. Removes any increase attack buffs from the target and places them with a 50% decrease attack debuff. So he takes your good one away and puts the bad one on there. He removes all continuous heal buffs from the target and replaces them with a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. The number of poison debuffs is equal to the number of continuous heal buffs removed. Damage is based off of HP. So very niche, because you have to have these to actually use them, but this is done either way. And then he's got Lord of Terror, which is attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a true fear debuff for 1 turn. Also places a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns and decreases each target's turn meter by 15% if the true fear debuff is placed. Has a 75% chance of placing a shield debuff for 1 turn if the true fear debuff is not placed. So if this happens, then awesome. If it doesn't happen, then something else happens. So awesome. This guy's an annoyance. He really is an annoyance. And the damage on this one is also based on HP. Alright, and then last but not least, he has a passive that, when attacked, decreases the duration of all buffs on the attacker by 1 turn. So, yeah, he's just all around good for Arena. Alright, so the next one we want to take a look at is Venus. We've had Venus before. She is kind of awesome. Her aesthetic's pretty cool too. I dig it. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. She's an attack-based champion. She's actually support, but all of her attacks are attack-based. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense and a 25% weakened debuff for 2 turns. So she's going to be good in pretty much all the dungeons, clan boss, anything that needs decreased defense, which is everything, and weaken. And puts it on at the same time, which is fantastic. And it's an AoE. Alright, and then she's got her Burning Passion, which attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing an HP burn debuff for 2 turns. We don't know anywhere that decreased defense, weaken, and HP burn is good for, right? Nowhere. Like a clan boss or spiders or, well, just about anything. Alright, and then she has, this is based on Cupidus. Cupidus has to be in the team with her, but she can remove all buffs from all enemies, has a 50% chance of granting an extra turn. So pretty darn good if Cupidus is on the team with her. Alright, and then last but not least, she's got an aura that increases ally HP in all battles by 33%. So if she's your leader, she's increasing everyone's hit points by 33%. All around a solid champion. Alright. And then, so that's the three legendaries. And then for epics, we have occult brawler who is fantastic in dungeons and in clan boss, and he just looks beefy. All right, all right. Let's look at his kit here. He attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns, and it's based on attack. So he is a poisoner for clan boss and anywhere else. Here's where he gets complicated and fun. He attacks one enemy. If this champion is under 1 or more debuffs, this attack ignores 30% of enemy defense. If this champion is under 2 or more debuffs, enemies killed by this skill cannot be revived. And if this champion is under 3 or more debuffs, this attack is always critical. If this champion is under 4 or more debuffs, this champion heals by 30% of the damage inflicted. And if this champion is under 5 or more debuffs, grants an extra turn. Removes all debuffs from this champion after the attack. Alright, so it's on a 4-turn cooldown, can book up to 3. And this is the reason why this skill works the way it does, is because his passive places a 2.5% poison debuff on this champion for 4 turns at the start of each turn. At the start of each turn, he receives this. And then has a 70% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff on a random enemy for 4 turns at the start of each turn. So this is where it gets really good. Just a great kit, especially for clan boss. I mean, yes, he is going to be taking damage. Throw him in some lifesteal gear. He's going to be doing a ton of damage because he's going to be ignoring 30%. He's automatically doing criticals. I mean, he's just going to be pumping out poison damage. Alright, so great kit for that guy. This next one is a meme. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, looks cool. I mean, looks fantastic. I mean, I wouldn't want to call him fat in a dark alley or anything. But anyway, let's look at his kit. He's got attacks one enemy, has a 10% chance of placing a block cooldown skills debuff for 1 turn, which seems really good. And his attack's based off defense. His base stats are really good. I just don't understand why he hits like a wet noodle. I just don't get it, guys. His second ability here is attacks all enemies. Has a 75% chance of placing a 30% decrease crit rate debuff for 2 turns. And then his passive is increases the damage all allies receive from critical hits by 15%, which is pretty darn good. Fills this champion's turn meter by 5% whenever an enemy lands a normal, strong, or weak hit. It just looks so good on paper. Why is he so bad? I just don't get it. He looks cool. Looks cool on paper. Really good starting stats. And it's just, I don't understand it, guys. Explain to me. Put in the comments what you guys think about this guy. Because, I mean, he looks like he should be awesome, and he's just not. Alright, so his aura is increase ally hit points in all battles by 25%. So, awesome. If you guys are able to do anything with this guy, let me know. Because, yeah, I'd like to know. Alright, so let's move on to the next one, which is probably one of the top epics in the game. And we are talking about, you guessed it, Stag Knight. Alright, Stag Knight has really great starting stats. He apparently doesn't want to be seen on this video. So, looks really cool. And he attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns, which is always good, based off attack. And attacks all enemies, has a 70% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff and a 50% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. So great in any dungeon, any arena fight, any clan boss fight, any, well, fight, period. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And it can be booked down to a 3-turn cooldown. And then his passive here is places a 50% increased accuracy buff on an ally for 1 turn each time the ally has a debuff resisted by an enemy. So, sounds like he's pretty solid. Well, it's because he is. He is pretty solid. So, yeah, he's definitely worth it. And of course, it's a lot easier to get a epic than it will be a legendary. So definitely worth it if you don't have him to try for that. And then the next one is a we'll call her a legendary in an epic's clothing, and that is Madame Serris. So first off, she's probably got the best or coolest look in the game, in my opinion. One of the coolest. Yeah, she's ridiculous, guys. So she's got great stats, base stats, legendary even base stats, and then her abilities are just completely legendary and broken for an epic. She attacks one enemy, has a 20% chance of placing a fear debuff for 1 turn. And that's not enough, guys. We want more. This chance increases 30% if the target is under 1 debuff. Oh, but wait, there's more. This chance increases to 45% if the target is under 2 or more debuffs. So yeah, that's just her A1, guys. Wait, it gets better. Her A2 on a 4-turn cooldown that can book down to 3. Attacks all enemies, has a 40% chance, which can book up to 50% chance of stealing 1 buff from each target. She steals it, meaning she takes it from them and puts it on herself. It's redonkulous. Oh my, it's bad. It bad as in good. It's freaking awesome. And then places a block debuffs buff on all allies for 2 turns if any buff is stolen. So if she steals any buff from anyone, then all your guys get block debuffs buff. That's oh wait, it's not over yet. It also places a true fear, not just fear, but true fear debuff for 1 turn on enemies who have buffs stolen. I'm going to let that sink in for a second. Alright, then her A3. Guys, it books down to a 4-turn cooldown. It removes all buffs from all enemies. Places a 50% decreased attack and a 60% decreased defense debuff on all enemies for 3 turns. 3 turns. I'm sorry, guys. I'll be in my bunk. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, I'm back. Alright, so let's see. Then her passive is places a shield buff on this champion equal to 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn. At the start of each turn she does this. And then, when attacked while under a shield buff, has a 35% chance of placing a fear debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. She goes great with anyone that puts a shield up, just so you know. Just throwing that out there. I run her with Miscreated Monster and Valkyrie. Gotta love it. Alright, so There's one more, and she is right beside this young lady, and her name is Sylar. All right. She is a support champion. Her A1 is attacks all enemies. Yeah, kind of boring compared to the last couple that we looked at. She's kind of boring. All right. Her A2. I mean, she's still good, guys. She's still good. Her A2 is on a 4-turn cooldown that books down to 3. She attacks all enemies, has an 80% chance of placing a 50% decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns. Pretty good. Getting better. Her A3 is where it's at. It's a 6-turn cooldown that books down to 4. She places a 30% decreased speed debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Fantastic debuff for AoE, AoE debuff. And decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 40%. That's huge. And then here's the other cool thing about her. It's only in faction crypts, so it's only kind of cool, but she's got a speed aura by 22% in faction crypts. So all in all, pretty darn good choices there, minus the bear. All the rest are pretty darn good. So again, it's up to you guys. I wouldn't necessarily go for the times 10 event, just because it's only a times 10. If you pull one, you get 10 times the chance to get those specific champs. But you've got to pull one to get that chance. So it's up to you. If you want to do that, I would suggest holding off on the shards till a times 2 comes along. But it's up to you guys. Can you pull a legendary with 1 shard? Absolutely. People do it all the time. Will you do it? Who knows? But the odds are definitely against you. I mean, it's only 99.5% chance that it's not going to happen. So just throwing that out there. But other than that, guys, if you guys pull anything, let me know in the comments, and because I want to be the first to congratulate you. But other than that, you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.